Keith just put the he just put the scope on and everything.
Look at the size of that.
Let me see if I can come
That's
closer.
good pigeon medicine right there.
Oh, 30 cal, buddy.
So we threw a night force on top, of course, and we got the Donnie FL going on. And we're pretty curious as to what this is going to do right out of the box. So we're not going to change anything. We're just going to load up the mag, air up the gun, see what we get for speed, and then go from there. I want to do a tuning video, so I'm hoping it's not perfect out of the box, but we're looking to target somewhere in between 890 and 900. Norm was chatting with Thaddeus from Utah Air, and he said that that seems to be the sweet spot. Now, all these guns are a little bit different, so if this gun wants something else, we'll do that, but it's a good starting point to aim for. All right, so we're running our first shots. I know you're probably used to seeing a different chronograph, but this is all we have with us today, so we'll see how she does. First shot, it's a 30 cal. Should I brace for it? Wow, that was interesting. 844. See if I can miss that pole over there. There we go, that's yeah. Better. 869. 877.
Wow, this might be pretty good.
875. I think now it's starting to settle in a little bit. 872. 876.
Wow.
So, you know, of course it's going to take a few to settle with the newly filled regulator, but that's pretty darn good, hanging out at 875. And we have reg from the factory was set. Oh wow, it's only at $1.35, dude.
Nice.
So we got plenty of room. There's the reg right there, and we're on the 4th line, so we're probably gonna end up coming down to the 3rd line, somewhere in the neighborhood of that. We would love to be, like I said before, 890 to 900. So we're probably gonna take it up to about 915 if we can get there, and then back it down with the valve. Take about 20 feet per second off of it. But pretty exciting so far. So the first thing we're gonna try is upping the hammer spring a little bit. If we tighten the hammer spring in and nothing happens, then we know we gotta take the reg up. If we tighten the hammer spring and velocity goes down, we know we gotta bring the reg up. We're basically gonna try and work in tandem with the hammer and the reg. Ideally, we'll keep the reg as low as possible to keep shot count up, but we're gonna tighten this, and some people go super small. I think, what do you think, Norm, 3 or 4
yeah.
quarter turns?
Yeah.
So we'll try that, see what happens. And of course, the first couple shots, it might not settle right in. 877, that was expected. Error. 878, so a small increase. 885. 884. So
nice.
Speeds are still climbing. So at this point, I see no reason to mess with the reg. We're going to take it up a little more. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And always test your power wheel too to make sure that that power wheel spins free after you adjust it. You don't want that power wheel locked up.
So we can still spin all the way through. That's good. If the power wheel locks up, it's because you've tightened the hammer spring too much. So that's what Norm's saying. You really don't want that. 882. Duplicate. 883.
Wow.
Well, the gun likes to be here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
884.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome consistency. And it would be totally fine to leave the gun alone at this point and then go test it on paper. I'm sure it's shooting great groups with that kind of consistency, but we want the power. So up with the reg we go. So we didn't get a huge gain. We got a lot of consistency with the hammer spring adjustment, but not a huge gain. So I'm gonna give the regulator a little more pressure. So we're gonna adjust this brass screw right here, counterclockwise.
Let me see if I can get in there.
Can you see it?
There we are.
So we're gonna give it a small turn while we watch the reg. And we're at 135 right now. So we're gonna take it up to 140. And this is a good time to let off some dry shots. In other words, take the pellets out unless you feel like wasting pellets, because anytime you mess with the reg, it's gonna take a few shots to settle in. So I'm gonna remove the mag, fire off some air, and then we'll put the pellets back in and see what we got. All right, so we let off some dry shots. Now we're actually gonna throw some pellets through. We were at 884. If the velocity has gone down, it's because we need to give the hammer more strength to actually open that valve. So we'll see what she does. 910. 907. Duplicate.
Nice.
912. So that's acting very nicely right now. We could probably give the hammer a little more and eke a little more out of it. I think let's do that. Let's try and get to like 915, 920 and turn it down from there. So pretty happy so far. We're just gonna go 1, 2, 3/4 turns. Maybe they're not even quarter turns. Check that we're all good here, and we are. Still have full free movement. So now we're gonna see what we get for velocity.
And we'll add one thing in. Make sure you don't turn the power wheel if you have
gun's cocked.
if the gun's cocked.
Yeah.
Make sure the gun is decocked before you turn that power wheel.
Yeah, if you're cocked while you're turning that hammer adjustment or the power wheel, it's already under strain. So that's a no-go. It sounds nice. You can hear it calming down. 919. 917. That one dropped a little at 914. 913, and there's a good chance we're coming off the reg, so I'm going to put some more air in it. Always make sure that you're paying attention to that while you're tuning, because you'll be chasing your tail around if you don't have enough air to realize the changes that you're making. Say that from experience. So we're going to air it up, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have refilled the gun and fired a couple dry shots, because sometimes the bottle will heat up a little bit and we don't want that. So here we go. 929.
Ooh.
922. That hit that hole again. That was so loud.
You couldn't probably hit that if you were aiming at it that many times.
921. Well, I was trying to miss the pulse, so I didn't go right over the chrono, and then of course misses. 917. So let's get some consistency. We have enough speed and power. Now we're gonna turn in this wheel little by little, this valve adjuster. So I know that, well, I say I know, but I think that we're gonna end up right around the third line. So I'm gonna go just over it, and we'll see what we've got for speed. And I'm gonna try and get this to sit so I can miss that pole more often. Let's see what she does. 914. 910. 907. And turn it in just a little bit more. This one's actually stiff to turn, which is nice. Sometimes if they're really loose, we actually tape them in place so they don't move in case you fat finger it while you're picking up the gun. 900 even. The gun sounds better right now. 893. 895. 902. 901. 893. 895. So I can't remember every number, but I think we've got an extreme spread of like 10 feet per second. Really pretty consistent. We're not getting a bunch of duplicates, but I also don't trust this chronograph as much as we trust the FX one. This one's old and it's been through a lot. So we're in our target range of 890 to 900. Now it's time to actually put it on paper, see what it does. I could kind of care less what it does at 20 yards, but I'd be interested to see what it's doing at 50 and a little past 100, and that part's coming up next. Hey guys, I have to interrupt to tell you one very important thing that I forgot to mention as I was shooting. These pellets are all as they came out of the tin. No sorting, no weighing, no rejecting because of a dented skirt. I haven't seen a dented skirt yet, but if I had, I still would have just shot it. So keep that in mind. Straight out of the tin. I'm sure the groups would shrink if I took the time to sort them before this. Oh yeah, one other important thing. We always lube our pellets and slugs, not so much for accuracy, but because of bore condition, which leads me to my next point. We have way less than 100 pellets through this barrel, and in general, I've noticed that the FX barrels really tighten up as they get shot in. So what you're about to see is definitely, in my opinion, not the full potential of this system. And just so you know, this is how we lube. I lightly spray silicone spray. I just use this WD-40. And then I roll on the sprayed foam the pellets or slugs. Just a couple rolls is all it takes, and then we let them sit out on these towels and dry in the sun. Easy to do, and it keeps us from having to clean all the time. Alright, so we've got the gun shooting in the velocity that we want, and it's pretty consistent. I got it on paper inside, didn't shoot any groups yet. So we're gonna let a few shots off because we did just fill it. We're gonna load the gun up and start the scope cam. All right, so that is at 50 yards, and for the rest that I'm on, I'm gonna say it's shooting pretty darn good. Obviously needs to sight in a bit, but we're on paper, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this gun. All right, so we've got it zeroed. We shot a group with it that I was happy with. Just gonna have a little fun and go after the numbers. Again, this is 50 yards. I'm just shooting off my tailgate, not a bench, so we'll see how we go. Dead number. Dead number. Oh, took his head off. Dead number. Dead number. Okay, so I really like this tune. We'll see how she does with slugs when we get some, but for right now, we got plenty of power, and she's driving tacks. All right, so we've got a fresh fill on the gun, and my target's at 130 yards. I took 2 sighter shots. Looks like the dial up is 20 M away from a 50-yard zero. And we are gonna pop this bad boy in after a couple dries. Off a fresh fill, I always like to do that. I feel like if I run the air too fast, I can overwhelm the regulator, and so I like to clear it out before I'm shooting for groups. The previous sighter shots are located. There was where the first one hit, and I dialed up and hit that one there. We're not going to hold for wind, and we'll see how she does. Felt the breeze pick up. Yeah, the wind just really kicked on now. Really impressed with that grouping though. And I believe what we really need is more like 21. So we're gonna go to 21, and I'm gonna hold for wind now. And we'll see how many times we can hit that dot out of 5. Oh, a little high, good wind call. Right on. Didn't give it enough. Right on top. I am really quite pleased here. Didn't think it needed it. Learning the gun. That dot is about this big. At 130 yards with a pellet and a variable wind, I'm actually quite pleased with that, especially since I've never shot 30 cal before. So I need to learn the wind calls for it. But that was a whole lot of dead pigeons, and we just tuned the gun up. We hope that helps everybody that was asking about tuning, and worst case scenario, you got to see a 30 cal shoot, and shoot pretty darn well. So we're pretty pleased. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this gun. We'll have some hunting videos with it coming soon, so stay tuned on our channel. We hope you liked it, and subscribe. Three, two.
Done.
Done.